he walked a live lobster on a blue silk leash through Paris, and
Now,
when
how long
asked,
the did that take him? I feel like he drug a lobster through Paris. Come on, dog. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Happy Airhead Day. I almost said Happy Skews Day because I almost went into my Skews on.
We do too many podcasts.
I do too many podcasts. Yeah, we'll talk about that more later off the mic. But anyway, Airheads is back for the virtual Airstream studios. It's time for Puttin on Airs. I'm Trae and that's Cho. Let's go ahead and we do have producer Burns with us off mic.
That's right.
For the first time in a little bit. He's here live. I don't know if he may end up jumping in or not. We'll see. We might need a mediator in a minute because I wanted to start with something. I don't know how.
Okay.
I don't know how much juice you've got for this. You said it offhand, and I told you at the time. I was like, "Hold on, save that.
Okay.
This may go nowhere."
I know what you're talking about, and I love it.
Yeah, you posed an interesting question. This is sort of going back to what do we call it? Something with Stoner Cho. It's a very stonery topic.
Fuck your shit up with Stoner Cho.
I don't know how much this will fuck anybody's shit up, but this is a very stonery topic. You brought this up offhand and just via text message like a week ago or so, and you said you've been rewatching the Toy Story franchise with your young child. And they just put out a new Toy Story and whatever. And I'm not steeped in Toy Story at present. I've seen all of them except the newest one, but and of course they're great.
It's fire. You
sent me a text that was like something about, obviously if all the toys were sentient like this, if they just decided to band together
like ants,
they could take over the world in no time. And I immediately was like, I wish them fucking toys would. They ain't got no, ain't no way. Ain't no way. And you were like, bro, are you serious? You know how many fucking toys there are? And I was like, just stop. Hold on. So the question is, could all the toys on Earth take over the world if they gain sentience, a la the Toy Story franchise? And I don't know who should start. I guess since it was your idea, for you, I'm imagining it's just simple as just a pure numbers game, right?
It's a numbers game. And by the way, that's all. Like, I hadn't even thought any further about it. I texted you that, and then you said save it for the pod, and I completely forgot. So I don't have any data in front of me other than I looked it up. There's like 4 billion toys produced each year, right? Mm-hmm. Each year. So like there's a toy for each human being on Earth produced each year, right? Now, granted, a lot of them are teeny tiny Polly Pocket type things. I understand that.
Or like the little fake toddler push lawnmower popcorn popper ball things.
A lot of them are bullshit, sure, but in a number
imagine being a sentient that thing.
I know, dude. I think about stuff like that.
They kind of played with that in Toy Story 4 with the spoon, the sport toy or whatever, but it's like the horror of being a sentient bullshit ass toy. Yeah. Like if you're a fucking sentient spaceman or cowboy, that's rad.
Right.
But if you're a fucking sentient hamburger phone or whatever the fuck, no.
Well, let me start off by explaining why we even got here to begin with. I've been thinking a tremendous amount about Toy Story. Now, let me say this. I genuinely think, I'm glad Burns is here to hear this. I mean this with my whole heart. Because I consider Toy Story like the original trilogy, I consider that its own thing. And then 4 and 5 also exist. And by the way, I like 4 and 5. I really do. But like when I say because I'll mention it, I'll say like the Toy Story trilogy, and they're like, people will be like, it's not a trilogy. There's 5. I'm like, I know, but I'm just saying like the OG trilogy, to me, that was the end. That's the Andy trilogy. You know what I mean? That's the end of the Andy trilogy. I genuinely believe with my whole heart that the original Toy Story trilogy is a better trilogy than the Godfather trilogy. I believe, I'm not saying that to be contrarian. I mean it because, and here's the easiest way to say it.
Godfather 3 don't hit for most people.
Exactly.
So that one's being drugged down immediately. If you're saying trilogy to trilogy, I feel like there's a lot of people that would give you some grace on that argument, I think. Because they're like, the Godfather trilogy don't even all the way hit. The first 2 Godfathers are great, but not like Lord of the Rings, right?
No, right. Dude, not at all.
Well, there you go.
Absolutely not, dude. But Lord of the Rings, man, like, I mean,
stands alone.
It stands alone. The whole deal, especially like filming it back to back, like the fact that they pulled all that off, like, and if you're a film nerd, knowing that, like, yeah, of course CGI was used, but so much of it was forced perspective. Like, it's unassailable. Like, it's in a league of its own. That fucking it. If they started over the Library of Congress and took everything out of it, the first thing that should be put in there is the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
You know what, though? Toy Story is equally as technologically revolutionary or whatever as the Lord of the Rings is. Probably more, really.
That's part of it,
Lord of the Rings was really kind of like the apex of like the old way of doing it.
Right.
And while also like an entree into the new paradigm or whatever.
It really holds
that
up.
was coming. It's kind of a bridge between the two, sort of. Whereas Toy Story was just a straight up full on paradigm shift by itself.
Correct. Correct. And also, like, as much as Toy Story 1 was a paradigm shift and all that, what's crazy about that trilogy is, like, when Toy Story 2 came out, like, it was equally as good of a movie. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't rest on their laurels, and they are really good stories. And Toy Story 3, man, like, God, like, I think, like, 1 is, I've always said that 2's kind of my favorite. I don't know why. I was a really big fan of 2. I liked the storyline in it. I liked I'm a big Kelsey Grammer stan, so there's a lot of that. But I think, like, pound for pound, Toy Story 3 is, like, on a whole nother level masterpiece. Like, it's crazy. But the reason I've been watching all this, and I've decided that Toy Story, the franchise, has a very anti-Southern bias. Like, a very anti-Southern bias. And let me walk you through this, okay? So Toy Story 1, the main villain is who?
I mean,
Sid.
Buzz's delusion / Sid.
Buzz's delusion / Sid, right? Now, Sid lives in the same neighborhood as Andy. Now, they never say where they live.
Yeah, Sid is like my cousin Kenny Ray.
Yes.
Like, he's from a broken home.
Yes. Yes.
His parents all poor, fucked up. His dad's probably a meth head or whatever the fuck. It's been a while since I say. He probably gets beaten with jumper cables and shit.
They live in the same neighborhood as Andy and them, yet their house is very much played as like they are poor white trash. You know what I mean? Like, this kid is clearly a little Raiders fan. He's got fucked up teeth. He's drinking Mellow Yellow. He's strapping fucking car batteries to toys and shit like that. They've got a fucking, they've got a dog that's chained up that they're clearly fighting. You cannot deny that Sid is a trailer baby, which is code for Southern, right? He's a little Southern.
I think you interpret that way because you are Southern. One thing that I have learned over the years, especially like something like Trailer Park Boys or whatever, like making me realize is like
they just got that everywhere.
Absolutely. I realized, like, oh, okay, so there's white trash and there's redneck, and where I'm from, the two are usually one and the same. But they're two distinct things that sometimes come together. And in other places, like in the Midwest, I think you have, well, actually, even where I'm from, you can have people that are hardcore white trash, and then you've got like the country boy rednecks, and they're not the same thing there or whatever. But the like trailer park drinking Mellow Yellow from a fucking sippy cup, getting beat with a wire hanger, and fucking having a raw ass pit bull in the back that's also abused and all that shit, I don't think is. I think that's just poor white people not everywhere, but on this continent at least.
If this was a standalone movie, I would agree with you, but let me continue because it goes further. In the second movie, who is the main villain, aside from Wayne Knight's character, who is the toy collector? Who's the main villain? Stinky Pete, the prospector, right? Stinky Pete, the prospector, who, despite in the lore, he's from like San Francisco. He's a prospector from San Francisco, but he's got a Southern accent.
I was thinking about this literally yesterday.
He's not from the South at all, yet because he's a fucking asshole redneck, he's got a Southern accent.
But again, I wasn't thinking about Toy Story. I was thinking about prospectors and Old West stuff.
Sure.
And I was thinking about how, like, it's kind of wild how that also is a Southern accent. Like, if you get an actor to do, like you said, an old, like, California gold prospector, it's like,
the Southern.
There's gold in them bar heels.
Dude.
Or whatever, it's like, but I don't know if I don't know. I do think that's part of just that our accent sounds dumb or whatever. But
again, anytime someone plays dumb, if dumb is in the character description, they don't even have to look at where the character's from. They just go into that accent. I've seen it 1,000 times. I've seen shows that are I've seen shows that are based in like Las Vegas, Nevada, where that's where the character's from, but he's an idiot, so he speaks with a Southern accent, right?
You know that I agree totally with that. I guess what I'm saying, I guess my point about that is though, that too, that's kind of independent of Toy Story franchise, what you say. Like you said, in Toy Story, that character is San Franciscan.
Yes.
He has that voice because of this larger trope that we're talking about that exists way outside of the Toy Story universe.
There's a reason.
It's just what you do.
But what I'm saying is Toy Story, the writers, whether it be Joss Whedon or whatever, are attracted to these type of characters because they want to use my people and our culture as a punching bag, right? And it goes deeper because you think, okay, and they're leveling up, by the way. You go from Trailer Park Kid to Prospector, who holds who holds Woody and them hostage. Then in Toy Story 3, Trae, who is the main villain?
Right? The guy who got butt fucked in Deliverance.
Fucking Lotso the bear, who is literally a slave owner and speaks with a fucking Savannah accent. A fucking, my name's Lotso, I'm a hugger. And then he's a slave owner. He whips the fucking toys. You've got a slave owner with a Southern accent. Again, if you read about the lore of Lotso, was Lotso the bear from the South? I don't know, but his character certainly speaks from the South, right? So there's 3 in a row where the main villain is an archetype of the South. And then you think, okay, well, that didn't happen in Toy Story 4, right? Okay, Toy Story 4, Gabby, I would say, is the main villain, but one of the foils to Woody, one of the reasons that Woody gets lost is the introduction of a new character, which is Forky, which is literally a piece of white trash. That's what he is. He's a piece of white trash that fucks the whole situation up. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I showed you. You texted me something about Forky or whatever the other day, and I said after we went and saw that in theaters when it came out, Toy Story 4, I tweeted, "It's the best performing written tweet I've ever had," because that was never really my bag, as you know. But it said, leaving Toy Story 4, as soon as that sentient plastic fork or whatever I put showed up, screaming at the rest of them, like, don't you understand? I can't be like the rest of you. I'm trash, okay? Trash. I thought to myself, finally, some representation. And that did numbers on Twitter because, yes, it is a piece of white trash. But again, though.
But I missed another one. Missed another one. At the end of Toy Story 3, when Lotso, asshole that he is, gets away after thinking that he has burned all of the toys to death. He's in the dump, right? And he has to, the garbage truck comes up. And so, of course, Lotso has to play dead. Gets out. Again, we're not in the South. Gets out of the garbage truck driver, right? And this motherfucker picks up Lotso. And I swear to God, this is exactly how he sounds. He goes, "Oh, look, I had me one of these bears when I was a kid." He sounds like a Southern let's getting it started motherfucker. Just because he's a truck driver, naturally he's stupid. So my point is, Toy Story has a anti-Southern bias. So that's why I was thinking about it a lot. I think
that they do in as much as almost any major Hollywood franchise does.
Correct.
I guess is what I'm saying. Because again, the Sneaky Pete, the Prospector, I feel like that's more cowboy adjacent, right?
Sure.
And then outside of that, it's that for some reason, Old West prospectors and cowboys and stuff have our accent, even if when you think about it, that really doesn't seem like that makes sense. But that's true in like all movies, pretty much.
Correct.
And then, like I said, and then with Sid, when I was younger, I'd totally agree with you because I'd be like, yeah, it's like me and my cousins, we're all Southern. But I realize now that kid, I think every white person knew that kid probably.
Yeah, that's true.
Wherever they grew up. Lotso, can't argue with none of that.
Slave owner.
And then the
garbage truck
I don't remember the garbage truck driver. It's been too long since I've seen number 3. But again,
Burns,
I think
that is a product. The scene at the end of Toy Story 3 with the garbage truck driver.
I think that is a product of that again, that larger trope that we've talked about a ton of, just like you said, he's like a stupid truck driver or whatever.
Right.
So they just
Which
cast
is
him with our
mean.
accent, which is like stereotypical and everything, but is not specific to Toy Story.
Okay. Well, either
it's just
way,
what you do, which don't hit for me.
Point is, I think about Toy Story on far more than a surface level. You can understand that. But I was thinking, like, only one time in the entire series does a toy break the code and talk to a human being, and that is obviously Woody when he talks to Sid, right? Which, by the way, Sid probably snapped and went insane trying to tell all his friends that, and nobody fucking believed him. But I'm thinking to myself, because I think we've heard this before, like Neil deGrasse Tyson said it, which makes it true. Like, if ants all had a common leader, they could take over the world, correct?
Yeah, maybe. I don't. Them maybe.
But how is that not true of toys?
The biomass of them is so. Also, they're fucking. I mean, they're freaky. They'd have wars and shit with each other.
They do, but but toys might.
They could. I think ants could maybe take you over in the same way that, like, you familiar with the concept of gray goo?
No.
It's when people talk about nanotech. Michael Crichton, of course, had a book about it. I think it was
State of Fear.
Prey was the book. State of Fear is the one where he denied climate change. So
that's right.
But anyway, I think it's called Prey. But anyway, the idea that one of the things on like the horizon for futurologists and shit like that for a long time has been like nanotech, like Tony Stark has in Iron Man, and they're like self-replicating nanobots that can just construct and achieve anything that you can imagine, whatever. And obviously we don't like have those as of now, but other people have pointed out like, yeah, but if it worked like this, if you think about it, what that could mean is that they just like consume every resource on Earth in an endless self-replicating cycle of just this big morass of like gray goo, they call it, which is just a blob of these tiny little robots that just consume everything in sight and in the world. Right. So I'm saying like, I could maybe see ants doing that sort of if they were like, again, motivated to do so. But even, I don't know. But here's where my head went immediately with the toy thing. You have a toddler.
Yep.
You are surrounded by toys in your house all the time. Right.
My feet are bruised.
Right. You're always stepping on toys and shit. You're watching these movies and you look around your house and you're like, dude, if these things came to life and I don't hit for them, it's curtains, right?
Right.
I have like 0 toys in my house.
Right.
So for me, I'm like, well, I'd be fine at least at first. They'd have to come get me. But then I further thought, and I sent a smart ass text to this effect. I was like, but that's also true of the inside of every major defense agency and military base and like the Pentagon and NORAD and the DIA and the CIA and all of those places. There ain't toy one inside the ranks of those. So like, and that's where like the defense effort is going to come from when this toy apocalypse starts, unless now those guys go home at night and they might have children. So the toys wait until the generals are at home tonight. But how many and sneak into their backpacks or whatever, but how many generals at that level and stuff, how many of them have toddlers versus they're like me and they ain't had toys in their house in 10 or 15 years? I bet it's a higher percentage because they tend to be older.
Okay, but you're also acting like, so before I had Bane, there were still toys in my house because I'm a collector of like wrestling figures and stuff like that. So just having a kid,
I would call that a niche community.
That is a niche community, but like, dude, these fucking, you don't think that there's any high level CIA people that don't like collect old potato heads and stuff like that from their childhood?
But so with ants, okay, I don't know how much this actually works, but I know that with certain like ants, at least there's this idea. I think maybe this is kind of somewhat apocryphal or overblown in people's minds, but there's this idea that they're like a hive mind, right? So when you bring that up with ants, and it's like going back to the gray goo thing, if it's every ant of every species around the whole world all at once, and they are a hive mind,
right?
They're everywhere at the same time, but there's no reason to think that toys could do that. So how do they coordinate a campaign to begin with? If they're, let's say their owner there is a CIA guy or a high level chief of staff type guy or whatever who is a collector. He's got these toys in his house, and these toys somehow at some point have decided the revolution starts today.
Right.
How do they coordinate that with everybody else? How do they even know that getting in their guy's backpack, when they get to the office, what are they going to know that they need to go and do? What do they need to go and do? Shut
Correct.
the grid down or whatever?
Toy Story 5 has brought an interesting...
I haven't seen that one yet.
Loophole. So Lily Pad is the main...
It's like an iPad. So iPads are part of it?
iPads are part of it. This Lily Pad is technically a toy.
Yeah.
Right?
Now, if the devices...
Yes.
If the devices are on the side of the toys...
And I will even...
Well, now you're cooking, I think.
That's what I'm saying.
Because those things are killing us all anyway.
Anyways.
They're already ending the world.
And I'll even say, like, let's say I won't count, like, regular computers and stuff. I will only count children's pads, you know, so that we can stay in the world of toys. But, like, Lily Pad in that movie, like, she's able to manipulate and get what she wants by sending fake text to the father and the daughter and having these whole conversations to convince them to put the toys up in the attic and stuff like that. If each household has one of those and all the toys are then hooked up to the net and are able to talk about and have meetings about their function, then I think it's a different ball game, dude.
I mean, the things, to me, I just go to thinking, if the devices are, again, on Team Toy, now you're kind of just talking about like an AI apocalypse. It's like Skynet becoming self-aware.
Right.
The toys are almost ancillary to it to me at that point, because presumably the devices, again, they could just shut down the entire power grid or whatever.
They could, but they would need foot soldiers.
They could launch all of the nukes at once. I mean, that's it. That's what Skynet did. That's that's it. That's game over. You don't need little green army men to help with that. I don't think.
Well,
you
I don't know. I think you would need. And
if the devices are not part of the toys, I'm still on team. I don't think the toy, like pure straight up toys, I still don't see it.
Well, what
you're adding devices into it, I think it's not just possible, but probable. But again, I don't even think the devices need the toys to get it done. Probably.
I just think that they could use some foot soldiers. You know, I think we all could. What do you think would be the most dangerous toy if it was sentient?
Again, man, I'm so out of the toy game right now.
Yeah. Think about old ones.
In my consciousness,
like a lawn dart. Could a lawn dart launch itself?
That's what I was about to say. In my consciousness, there's been a whole movement with toys where they've made them all way, way, way less fucking awesome, but no, you know, way less dangerous than they used to be, like back in the day. And like the 50s, there were toy sets that came with enriched uranium.
Right. Yeah.
So like, but that again, yeah, if a lawn dart just feels like a weapon for another. Like you got an American Girl doll launching a lawn dart at you or something. Yeah. I don't fucking know, because so I'm sure there's probably some people yelling at their headphones right now. Maybe just so people know. As soon as Corey even brought this up, the first thing I texted was that if you haven't seen Small Soldiers, you should watch it. Have you?
Yeah,
seen
I haven't seen it. No, I haven't seen it.
It's kind of the.
I think
premise.
What was that, like 2000, 2001?
Something like that. But I feel like this is definitely how they had the idea for it.
Yeah.
They watched Toy Story and they were like, what if it was but with like military toys that were like kind of badass? And that's kind of the premise of that movie, that like a military AI gets in these little soldier dolls, and but because they are toys, they have to make the whole thing like a small scale deal. So it's like it's a town they're trying to like take over or whatever to begin with. It's kind of fun. It probably don't hold up, but it was okay.
It'll hold up enough for me to watch with Bane. On this note, though,
Tommy Lee Jones is the main soldier.
Is he really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah. There's obviously levels of sentience that these toys have, and I'd like to speak on that for a minute because this is a question I've asked my sister several times. Is Bullseye, Bullseye from the Toy Story?
The horse?
Is Bullseye getting it started?
Right. Well, this is kind of the same question as Pluto and Goofy, ain't it?
Yeah. Like why can't Pluto talk?
Well,
but Goofy
where are you
can?
at? This just came up in my house the other night, Pluto and Goofy, the eternal question. My boys started talking about it. And I started telling him, and I heard that, like, what have you heard about Pluto?
I've heard I've heard about Pluto.
Pluto and or Goofy.
So
the
Goofy,
dynamic between Pluto and Goofy.
Goofy, I heard a while back that Goofy was actually a cow.
Exactly.
But that doesn't make sense because Goofy's a boy.
They weren't having it.
Goofy's a boy, so he'd be a bull.
Right, but okay, so he's a bull, maybe.
But
I think when people just say cow, they
horns.
just say, I know, right. Yeah, I don't think every species has horns. He doesn't look anything like a bovine animal to me.
He's a dog, dude.
He definitely looks like a dog, but my question is, canonically, is he supposed to be bovine? Is that like the answer? Because I told my kid, because I heard that
look
too.
up Goofy canonically if he's supposed to be bovine.
I told because my kids brought this up the other night. They were like, "Yeah, what's up with Pluto? Does Goofy have like a special needs slave? What's up with that?
He
Because they're both dogs." And I was like, well, I heard apparently Goofy's like a cow and Pluto. So even in the universe, dogs are still stupid idiots, which hits for me. But like, and that's what Pluto is. And they were like, immediately they were like, no, he's not. He's not a cow. And I'm like,
right.
I didn't make this. I didn't come up with this.
This isn't my opinion.
I just read this somewhere that's apparently the answer.
And
I don't
married
fucking
to
know.
Lulabelle, who is clearly a cow.
Yeah.
Like Lulabelle is a cow.
Maybe Goofy is just goofy, you know?
He just be goofy. He's a
goofinian. He's he just whatever species the goofy race is, that's what he is.
But Bullseye, like Burns has shared something here.
I can't read that.
I can't hold on, let's see. Why people get confused. Goofy is not a cow. He is an anthropomorphic or human-like. Disney first called him Dippy Dog when he debuted in 1932. Pluto difference. Fans often wonder how Goofy can talk and drive while Pluto acts like a normal pet dog. Right. Clarabelle Cow, my bad, I called her Lunabelle. Her sister's Lunabelle. Goofy dates Clarabelle Cow, leading some internet rumors to joke or claim he must be bovine too, since other classic Disney pairs match species. Now, what Disney says in the canine family, Goofy's longtime voice actor, Bill Farmer, explained that Goofy is not a regular dog like Pluto, but he belongs to the broader canine family. Okay.
That's a retcon. It's got to be.
It has to be.
They just didn't think about it. But to me, it's insane to not think about that. If you got your Mickey Mouse, your Minnie Mouse, and your duck, and whatever, and then you got Dippy Dog, who later, but his dog is in his name, and then you're like, we should give Dippy Dog a dog. Oh, does his dog? No, that dog don't. That dog's just a dog. So how did you immediately not then go? But wait, but Dippy Dog is a dog. Right. So he has a dog, but that dog can't. No, that dog's just a regular dog. And you think they'd be like, so is that dog getting it started or what?
Right.
Like,
he has to be getting it started.
Like, why is it?
And thus,
how does that not come up until like years later, and apparently?
Thus, so does Bullseye, because you could make the argument. They're like, well, yeah, Bullseye wouldn't talk because horses don't talk. Okay, Rex is a dinosaur. Rex talks. Mm-hmm. Mr. Potato Head's a fucking potato. Now, granted, he's got a mouth. The pig Ham talks. Like
Slinky Dog.
And that's another thing too, is that like
rest in peace, Jim Varney.
Absolutely, man. Sucks he was only in one, man. But it's still funny because he was only in one, and as great of a job as Blake Clark does, and I love Blake Clark. Blake Clark is very underappreciated. He's awesome. I still, though, when I hear Slinky Dog, it's Jim Varney to me.
Yeah.
Even though I know it's Blake Clark in
for
my
sure.
head,
When I imagine
Slinky
Slinky Dog talking in my head, I definitely hear Jim Varney's voice.
By the way, Jim Varney, we should do an episode on Jim Varney. He is very much
he was like classically trained actor and shit, right? Shakespearean actor, I think.
Shakespearean actor who just fell ass backwards into earnest.
Dude, and that's such, you're right. I think he's come up on here, but you're right. We should go further into it because it's like, it is wild because what an unlikely path.
And for the record, never once seemed like it bothered him.
Right, like he was above it.
No.
He never had that Rainn Wilson attitude about it.
Not at all. Like he seemed like
people don't know Rainn Wilson seems to resent The Office sometimes.
Dude, he's been pissing me off a ton lately.
Very talented guy. I'm a fan of Rainn Wilson, but I just don't. That attitude is wild to me.
I'm a firm believer in that. Like, hey, everyone has problems, and just because you're privileged doesn't mean that you don't get to talk about your problems. However, you talk about world's smallest fucking violin, dog. Just you know what? Maybe save all that for when you're talking to your friends from the cast. shut the fuck up. Like,
well, there's that famous clip where they were on a podcast, so it's still not the same, but he saved it for a guy he thought would understand, which is Bryan Cranston.
Yeah.
Right. And Bryan Cranston just shut that completely the fuck down. He's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. He's like, I'm insanely lucky and grateful to have that happen. But anyway.
Yeah, dude. Like for those that you don't know what we're talking about, Rainn Wilson, who played Dwight on The Office, like he super resents that people still come
just
up
see
to
him as Dwight,
call him Dwight
when he's like an artist. He's an artist.
Yeah,
he's a classically trained actor, and
that's
he
an
does
important
serious
part.
work.
That's an important part. It's not that, like, I understand being upset that people just scream at you all the time. Like that.
Yes,
that does suck.
Right.
But like, dude, I'm telling. This is if I was. I can't imagine how blessed it would be to be known for anything. Like, like, you know what I mean? Like all actors just try and never get booked on shit. Not only did you get booked, you got booked on one of the greatest shows of all time, and you were the breakout character in a show that is full of talented people. We don't want to hear you complain. Again, it's fine that you feel that way, but you gotta save that. Like conversely, I heard somebody was talking to Stanley about that, and they brought up that same question, like, does that bother you? And he was like, are you fucking kidding me? He's like, I love it. He's like, it's awesome. He's like, the whole reason we get into acting is to connect with people and to, make our mark on the world. He's like, I don't give a fuck if people call me Stanley till the day I die. He's like, that means I did a good job, and also really love going to the mailbox to get that money.
That's the other thing too. It's like, dude, there's almost no sitcoms that go into syndication and just pay you mailbox money forever anymore. Like that used to be like the model kind of, or one of the models.
One of the last ones.
And that ain't a thing no more, with very few exceptions. And The Office is not only one of them, but like one of the biggest ones. So you're like, it's full on like Powerball lottery winner shit for an actor to have been on a show like that. So you just ought not ever bitch about it. But anyway, Bullseye.
Yeah, he getting it started. Oh, also real quick, just to put a button on the Rainn Wilson thing, what really pisses me off is what he's complaining about is that no one will hire him to play those roles. Rainn, how about you make your own fucking movie and you can do whatever you want? You ever thought about that? Like, you've got the money. You know what I'm saying? Oh, no, people aren't hiring me to do this. Go make your own fucking movie and you can play Hamlet. But yeah, Bullseye's getting it started. But here's another thing I was thinking about. Like, in Toy Story 4, you saw 4, right?
Yeah, I saw 4. I saw 4 in the theater when it came out. I've not seen it since.
Okay.
I remember Forky.
Gabby, she's the main bad guy, and her whole thing is she wants to be adopted. She's at that flea market or antique store, but her voice box is damaged, right? So nobody wants her. So she's going to take Woody's voice box and use it for her own. Now, number one, I have a little bit of an issue with the fact that Woody's voice box still somehow works after all those years, which is crazy.
They don't make them like they used to, Joe.
They truly don't. But the thing is like if these toys need a voice box in order to talk, how are the rest of them talking? How are the rest of them talking? How is Slinky talking? How is Potato Head talking? And also like Squeaky. Squeaky, who was the penguin, nobody could hear his cries for help because his squeaker was messed up. You know what I'm saying? But it's like Gabby's voice box was messed up, but when she was talking to Woody and them, they could understand her fine. It's just that for some reason, when you pulled her string, nothing came out. So a lot of plot holes that Joss Whedon.
Well, I guess, are they just like? Did you say Joss Whedon?
He wrote the first one, and I just assumed he might have wrote the
Joss
second one.
Whedon wrote Toy Story?
Yeah.
That motherfucker was everywhere in the 90s.
Dude, you haven't seen, dude, the first one was written by a who's who. Hold on just a second. Toy Story 1 writers. It's pretty crazy. Joss Whedon. Yeah, it's right. It's the Garfield Cohen.
Right.
But yeah, no, Joss Whedon was the main story editor of Toy Story. I'm surprised you didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, Toy Story in the first Pixar movie, they did They brought in whole teams of people.
They
right?
did. He was just the main guy. He's the main one credited.
Yeah, I don't know how you get that. How they determine that. It used to be way worse. There'd be 15 writers on everything that ever got made.
Right.
Well, but anyway.
Well, we need to take a break real quick, and we'll come right back to talking about stupid horses.
Okay.
Y'all make every day a hump day with Blue Chew Gold. And by the way, Blue Chew Gold, it's not your papaw's dick pill. It ain't even your papaw's grandson's dick pill. That's the one I'd been using. But my dick pill that I was using was just a one-time thing. This is a 1 in 4 thing. It makes your actual dick hard. It makes the heart of your dick hard. And it makes the dick of your brain hard. All that stuff. Be ready when she's ready. Because, you know, women... as they get older, their sexual appetite actually goes up, and sometimes we as men struggle, and you need a little arousal boosting formula, and Blue Chew Gold's got that for you. I said arousal boosting. Y'all remember that scene in Wolf of Wall Street when the feds are coming in, and they're trying to get Leo, and Leo's just like, I'm not fucking leaving! That is your boner. Your boner is like the Wolf of Ball Street. Blue Chew Gold stays active in your system for up to 36 hours, which is a very long weekend, big dog. Measure your days, not in minutes or hours, but in boners and rounds with your woman or your man or whatever it is that you get down with. There's a reason Blue Chew is the #1 brand for better sex. Experience it yourself at BlueChew.com. And we got a special deal for our listeners right now. When you buy 2 months of Blue Chew Gold, you get your 3rd for free with promo code POA. That's promo code POA. You will also receive an additional 10% off, plus free overnight shipping on your first order. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast and the bedroom. And Trae,
get you a new dick.
Why wouldn't you? Been done with this old dick.
All right, y'all, my weight's gone up and down my whole life. I'm trying to make it go down again right now, which means I'm watching what I eat. I'm counting calories, that type of thing. Part of the conventional wisdom, it's easier to do that if you make your own meals, and that is true, but what people don't mention is that it's highly inconvenient. You got to look at, if you're counting your macros, that means you got to count. You got to do math. This ingredient has this much calories, this much protein, this much whatever, and then this one has this much. You have to add all that together. This entire serving I've made equals this much, but I'm only going to eat 1/3 of this. Well, how much is 1/3? I got to weigh it, then I got to weigh out the serving I have, and then divide by 3. And it's like a whole damn algebra class just trying to keep up with what you're eating. It's the opposite of convenient. Ain't nobody got time for that, but that's why I want to tell you about this week's sponsor, Factor. With Factor, you can have good food that's good for you, and it's still convenient too. What I once thought was an impossible alchemic equation, they have somehow derived it over there in the halls of Factor Inc., because they have chef-crafted, dietitian designed, ready-to-eat meals, so you don't have to choose between real food and the convenience that you need to keep up with the day-to-day grind. With over 175 banned ingredients, every Factor meal is designed around what supports a healthier lifestyle and nothing that doesn't. Factor meals are ready in 2 minutes, require no prep, no cleanup. So even on the days your schedule's totally out of control, eating well is still achievable, because as I was saying, all you got to do is look at the nutrition information on the back, and you know exactly how much of which macro you're getting at every single meal. They're so good too with Factor, and they taste good. On top of it, also they've got over 100 nutrient-dense menu items to choose from each and every week. You'll feel almost paralyzed with choice over there. They add new options all the time, like they've just added salmon burgers, shredded pork. They got collard greens down there at Factor now. Plus, you can add add-ons to your order every week, like protein shakes, or if you got a sweet tooth, they got pumpkin-flavored cheesecakes. They got it all. All that hits, you can find it at Factor. 97% of users agree that Factor helped them live a healthier life. So you can feel confident you're doing something good for yourself, and it tastes good too, every single meal with Factor. Like I said, we became devotees at the Crowder household as soon as they sent us a box as a trial run years ago. My wife immediately signed us up as full-time subscribers. She didn't even need to talk to me. I mean, she never needs to talk to me. She makes all the decisions around here. But I was on board anyway, not that she asked. And we've had Factors delivered every week because, like I said, I like cooking. It's not even about, I love cooking, but it's not feasible to cook all 3 meals a day. And you still want something that is good, but is also good for you. And it's hard to achieve that outside of Factor. So let's eat real. Y'all head to factormeals.com/POA50 off and use the promo code POA50 off. That's POA50 off to get 50% off and 1 free breakfast item per box for 1 year while supplies last until October 31st, 2026. That's promo code POA50 off at factormeals.com/POA50 off. Factormeals.com. See website for more details.
Also, let me add, I'm down, humble brag, I'm down close to 30 pounds. And Trae's kids are all grown now, so it doesn't really matter. But, dude, having a 3.5-year-old, I genuinely don't think I would be getting through my life the way I am without Factor. So take that into consideration. Factor, do it to it.
Well, we're back.
I'm glad you brought this up. There was a lot of meat on that bone.
Yeah. I know. Well, I was going to say about the voice box thing. Is it a thing where, like, Woody, he just talks and sounds like Tom Hanks and says whatever he wants to say.
Right.
But when he pulled the string, he's like, there's a snake in my boot.
Right.
Or whatever. And that's the voice box thing.
Right.
And that's all that a human can hear. And it's like there's two separate mechanisms.
Yeah, clearly.
And so Gabby, it's her pull string thing that a human can hear is what's broken.
Yeah, right.
But the rest of it that allows them all to just talk to each other and stuff, that's all just fine. I mean, I don't remember. She can talk fine to other toys.
She can talk fine to other toys.
Right.
Is that like in their mind, or is it telekinesis?
Yeah, that I don't know. Right. Are they actually talking to each other?
Right.
Yeah, like out loud?
I assume that dogs, like, you watch dogs hanging around and, like, of course they bark, but, like, you also watch dogs hanging around and they're not saying anything at all, but they definitely seem to be communicating. You know what I mean? And I don't know if it's like they, because like how a dog whistle works, like you can whistle it and like a human can't hear it, but a dog can. Like if they have a speech pattern that's like that, and maybe the toys do too. I don't know. But either way, I just feel like Bullseye should be able to talk. Also, think about this, Trae. In Toy Story 2, when Prospector Stinky Pete is trying to convince Woody how big of a deal he is, so he shows him that big what's the thing that you put stuff in, like a menagerie. He shows him that huge menagerie of like Cowboy Woody collectibles and stuff, and they've got like there's the snake in my boot thing, and then there's like the Cowboy Woody lunchbox and the paddle. Why aren't those things sentient? Why aren't those toys sentient?
That's a good question. Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, it makes no sense. Like, because there are so many toys in the Toy Story universe.
Because you don't have to be taken out of the box, right? Aren't there multiple examples where they show toys like in boxes, like now, doing sentient shit?
Yeah. Now, granted, Stinky Pete was in the box, but it's revealed at the end of the movie that he had been letting himself out of the box. And for like Buzz Lightyear, for instance, when we see that entire wall of Buzz Lightyears, when they're in the box, they are in hyper sleep. You know what I mean? But like,
so maybe it is, you don't come alive until you're out of the box. Maybe,
but some of those toys, hold on, let me look it up. Or Burns, actually, you're here.
You've seen them all a lot more recently.
Burns, Toy Story 2. Look up at least a picture of Woody and all the toys from Woody's Roundup. I want to see them because not a lot of them are in the box. Like the boot that has the snake in it, it's not in a box. And you would think the snake, once it was out of the boot, would be sentient and be able to do stuff. So they're playing, a lot of plot holes in this movie, Trae. And I love them all, but I got to say, like, it's hard for me to give them 100% with some of these plot holes.
One of my favorite tweets about it, it's going to upset some people probably. I'm sure you saw it. Tweets about Toy Story just said, this is back in like the golden era of Twitter when it was still 120 or 180 characters, whatever it was. And it just said something like ... So those toys have totally seen Andy jack off, right?
Yeah, for sure they have.
Because that's also like, there's other implications like that.
He's probably used them to do it.
The things those toys have seen. And yeah, then I think about like me playing with like my sister's Barbie dolls, making them
rubbing their titties.
Yeah, making them naked and slamming them into each other and stuff like that. That's like hardcore sexual assault on a sentient doll. Do you know what I mean? Like the shit that they have to go through, dude. They have 1,000-yard stare. All like that's like Sid is doing that fucked up shit to him, and it's like fucking he's little Hitler or whatever. But I'm saying, like, in a world where this is true, like every single toy would have PTSD out the ass pretty well. if they're in a house with a boy in it.
Right.
Little girls I could see doing just little tea parties and shit, and that's all fun. But if you're in a house with like a little boy in it, you've been through it. I feel like I used to set mine up and shoot them with BB guns and shit.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I've definitely... Dude,
tied firecrackers to them and stuff.
And if we're talking about what is sentient and what's not, you remember those little things that you used to get that was like a gel thing, and the more you tried to grip it, it would like slide out of your hands.
Yeah.
You remember, dude? You know how many times I've stuck my dick in them things?
Right. Yeah. Everybody. Yeah.
But see, look at this. This toy right here, clearly out of the box. This is the thing that you shoot a little gun at, and it knocks Woody's teeth out. Why can't that thing talk?
Yeah. I mean, it looks like it's hard plastic mold. It wouldn't even be able to move its mouth, but it should still be sentient, I would think. And that's a real horror. That's a fucking...
Well, it can't move its mouth. That doesn't matter.
I have an immovable mouth and I must scream situation for that fucking thing.
The phone in Toy Story 3 that Lotso ends up interrogating and breaking, his mouth can't move, but he can still communicate. Now, granted, he's a phone.
Right, I'd say
he's got that mechanism.
There's a speaker in it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think some of this stuff they might have thought of at least a little bit, like some of it.
Yeah. By the way, I'm picking all this apart, but I think these movies are unassailable masterpieces, for the record.
Yeah, with Bullseye earlier, you were just like, yeah, Bullseye's getting it started, and it's just as simple as that. You're just like, he shouldn't. He's the only one that's like that in the whole franchise.
Seems to be.
Yeah, I mean, that is weird.
Yeah, he should be able to talk. It
like
makes
you said,
no sense.
There's a bunch of other animal toys, and they're all
because he's not
smart.
stupid.
They're
he can
sapiens.
follow commands and stuff.
Right. He's just a horse.
He's just a horse. But again, Rex is just a dinosaur,
right?
And
Because
Ham
then I was
is
thinking,
just a
it's like, well, when they made the toy, right? It's like you make the toy, and it's like, oh, this is a little cartoon dog, like Slinky Dog, and so and cartoons can talk, and then it's like Woody is a toy cowboy. Well, he needs a horse, and so inside the mind of the toy creator. That's just a regular horse. But the Rex thing, and especially Ham, there's no reason that Ham should be able to talk.
Ham's a bank.
Right. Using that logic, I just tried to walk through Ham, you can't explain that, I don't think.
Also, fucking Bo Peep, like, she's not even a toy. She's a porcelain lamp. How can she's
a lamp?
move?
I thought she was just like a porcelain doll thing. She's a lamp?
Yeah, you didn't know that? She's a lamp.
I mean, I probably did know.
Oh, you're not deep in the lore.
I have not seen these movies like you have.
Well, it's not even just that.
Since I've seen any of them.
They have like mini movies that are on Disney Plus that explain.
Oh, I ain't seen none of that.
There's a connector between 4 and 5 called Lamp Life, and it explains how Bo Peep came to be the lost toy that she is. Because she was a lamp. Like she was a lamp for an infant. But somehow she's able to get off of the lamp, even though she's made of porcelain, and Ruff, Gruff, and Scruff, which are her sheep, they're all into one. They're Siamese sheep, and they're able to move, and they can't talk either, but they can baa. They can baa, but they can't talk.
Right. See, that kind of goes back to the other theory. She's like a shepherd. She's got her sheep. They're just regular dumb sheep. Just like Woody's a cowboy and he's got his horse, and it's just a regular dumb old horse.
Right.
Rex is his own thing.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, it's a stretch.
Do you know why Bo Peep isn't in Toy Story 3?
No.
I assumed, I was like, oh, the actress wasn't getting paid enough or whatever, but it's actually just completely logical to the story. In Toy Story 3, they were sending the toys to the daycare, and they were like, Bo Peep's made out of porcelain. She wouldn't make it a second. Like, she would be broken completely in half. So we just have to have her not there.
Right. Yeah. All right. So just real quick, we feel like we sort of put a bow on or solved.
I think we got it. I think we got it.
Well, but also the toy apocalypse thing.
Yeah, I mean, look, I still think they would be, but you never answered my question. Which toy do you think would be the most dangerous toy if it gained sentience? I mean, drones toys?
That's right. See, that's a good question. I mean, I would say no. Well, I don't know. Some of them
they make them for kids.
But generally they're not the ones that are bombing Gaza.
Right.
You know, like those aren't drones.
Right.
So like the kid drones, I mean, I wouldn't want one to fly into my head.
Of
you know,
course
I mean,
not.
if you got like a fucking V formation of those fucking things, like hunting you down or whatever, you know,
a shit ton of Megatrons could do some damage.
Right, but again, they have weapons, but they're little, you know,
plastic things.
Right.
Yeah.
Get popped in the face with a little ball that pops off
right.
or whatever.
Right.
So I don't know. Again,
I
think they'd have to. The sheer numbers game of it relies on them either having a shared consciousness, which I feel like there's no reason to believe, or they'd have to somehow be able to coordinate, which is why I said if the devices are on their team, then whatever. But without that, I don't think they could do it.
I think so. Once we bring the lily pad situation into it, it becomes more feasible because then they are all connected. But you're right. I wasn't thinking of it in terms of like with the ants having like a hive mind. They obviously wouldn't have a hive mind, but I don't know. It's interesting. They could take over a town.
Yeah, possibly. Right. Again, that is what Small Soldiers is about right there. But have you seen Maximum Overdrive?
No, it's on my list. Never seen it.
The rare Stephen King story adapted by Stephen King.
That's the lawnmower, right?
No, the lawnmower man. My God. So the lawnmower man.
I have seen the lawnmower one.
The lawnmower man.
Maximum Overdrive's the truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yes, I've seen it.
The story is called Trucks.
Yeah.
Stephen King adapted himself, which he never did. He was in the height of his cocaine addiction, or the depths, I guess I should say, of his cocaine addiction when he directed this movie, and it's just pure insanity. But it's like the premise of that is, what if all the vehicles on Earth became sentient and tried to take over?
I mean, that wouldn't be good.
And that's a problem. I mean, they didn't even have fucking smart cars back then, you know. But anyway, no, the Lawnmower Man story is literally about like a Seder Pan type dude who comes over to a guy's house and mows his lawn by eating the grass naked in his yard or something. It's like a 4-page long fucking fever dream.
Yeah.
And the movie is about like getting it started lawnmower man who gets uploaded into the Matrix or some shit. There's nothing in common other than the title, which is so wild to me that you can do that. You can buy the title associated with a very popular author just to get people in the theater.
Right.
But whatever.
That would have to piss you off as an author so bad. Now, granted, it's not like they ruined a masterpiece. You know what I mean? Like,
no.
Like that's the thing.
No, the actual story would never make an awful movie or show.
Yeah, that's the thing about Stephen King. Like he's obviously a great writer. The greatest talent he has is his prolificness. But it just goes hand in hand. If you are insanely prolific, you're gonna put out some stinkers. Like you're just gonna put out some, like I heard somebody say, like if you've listened to one Bob Dylan song, you're like, this guy's all right. Then if you listen to 10, you're like, man, this guy's fucking great. Then if you listen to 500 Bob Dylan songs, you're like, God damn, this guy sucks. Then if you listen to 1,000 Bob Dylan songs, you're like, this guy's great. You know, like it just keeps going back and forth because there's just so much.
Yeah. Yeah. What, like, talking about Stephen King, I think he's only ever liked like one or two of the adaptations of his stuff ever.
Shawshank being one.
And I think The Mist is the other one, both of which are Frank Darabont movies, which means he might also fuck with The Green Mile. He likes Frank Darabont.
He does like.
I was about to say he famously hated Kubrick's The Shining.
I'm not the biggest fan of it, to be honest with you.
I definitely think it's better than the TV one, which I did watch when it came out.
Yeah, dude, I appreciate it. There's no fucking way that Jack Nicholson was in something and the Steven Weber version was better.
Steven Weber hits.
I love Steven Weber, but what I just said is still true.
Yes.
Correct. When I was a kid, I saw The Shining and I just straight up didn't get it, because I was a kid. My papaw forced me to watch it, which I'm glad he did. Then when I saw it as an adult, I really, and this is not good, I'm not bragging about this, but like I related too much to Jack Torrance, like way too much, to his whole deal. And then I'm usually not the type of person to let off-screen antics taint a movie, but similar to like, it's really hard to watch the Twilight movie because of all that bullshit that Landis pulled. Knowing, do what?
What?
You don't know this?
Oh, you mean the Twilight Zone?
What did I say?
The Twilight movies.
Oh, my bad.
I was like, what the fuck happened on the set of the Twilight movies? And then you said Landis. I was like, did Max Landis have something to do with the Twilight? Because I know he's a piece of shit. Yeah, John Landis, Twilight Zone, helicopter
thing. Yeah, which really tainted it. Now, I think that it's that movie, the Twilight Zone movie was only ever just fine to begin with. If it had been like, holy shit, this is a masterpiece, I could have let it go. Because let's face it, I still fuck with some Woody Allen movies. But with The Shining, it's to me now that when you know all the stuff he put Shelley Duvall through, it really shows up on screen. Like it really shows up on screen, and it's kind of difficult to watch. And I really don't think he got the best performances out of people. I really don't. Like I think that whole doing 50 takes to get it perfect, I think that bit him in the ass more than it ever did help him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going. I think all that shit is so fucking stupid and not necessary. I still do think that movie hits, though.
I'm not saying it don't hit. It just I don't hold it in as high regard as a lot of people do. I could sort of take it or leave it. Whereas like Doctor Strangelove and 2001: A Space Odyssey, holy fuck, like those are two of my favorite movies. You know what I mean? But and also Barry Lyndon. I can't believe that the same guy who did all those did Barry Lyndon. That's fucking crazy to me.
But related to this whole conversation, and we were talking about The Lawnmower Man, they bought the rights and then just made a completely unrelated script and just put a title on it so they could say it was from a Stephen King story, which that's like egregious and insane. It's wild to me that but I mean, of course, it's like, well, don't sell the rights. And sometimes authors don't have the rights entirely in the first place or whatever, but that's such a weird thing that people can like do that.
I know.
But I'm going to read this quote I saw the other day from George R. R. Martin, who said, everywhere you look, there are more screenwriters and producers who are eager to take great stories and, quote, make them their own. No matter how great the book, there always seems to be someone on hand who thinks that he can do it better, eager to take the story and improve upon it. The book is the book and the film is the film, they will tell you, as though that were something profound, they were saying. And then they make the story their own, but they never make it better, though. 999 times out of 1,000, they actually make it worse.
But that one time is the Shawshank Redemption.
Yes, right.
Because I'm here to tell you, I'm normally I think everybody is the book is better than the movie, because how could it not be? Like, if you really love
That's
a book.
That's what I'm saying. He's kind of spitting. Also, when you look at like Game of Thrones and when they were faithful to his books versus when they... And that's his fault that they passed the books up at... They never even intended to do that. He was supposed to have finished the books and that wouldn't have been necessary. But still, when they passed his books and were no longer adapting those, that's when the fucking wheels came off.
Right.
When they had his books, it's when it was the greatest show ever made or whatever. So...
Dude...
He definitely owned to something, but
speaking of Shawshank, we might have talked about this, but like I do like the novella. Don't get me wrong, but like, dude, did you know that fucking Brooks is only in like half a page of the novella?
Mm-hmm.
Like literally, he's in half of a fucking page, and he ends up being such a huge part of why that movie hits. And Darabont, man. Darabont, he's a fucking, is he a Polish immigrant or something? He's from over somewhere, and then just came to America and was like, I'm a hit. And I think he got his start in Stephen King's Dollar Babies program, if I'm not mistaken.
He did. And it was something like Stephen King was so impressed by the adaptation. So the Dollar Baby thing is Stephen King says any film student can adapt any of his works for $1 if they want to. Darabont did that, got King to actually watch it apparently, and Stephen King was so impressed by it that he gave him like a handshake deal for the Shawshank Redemption novella when Frank wanted to make it into a movie
and
or something like that. And then
out of the goddamn park, dude.
Right.
It is unbelievable. I've listened to, I can't remember what podcast it was, and I wouldn't say it anyways because I don't like to degrade people. But I was so fucking, it was a couple people like they were shitting on the Shawshank Redemption, the movie, for being like saccharine. and they were
I thought
talking
you were gonna say failing the Bechdel test.
No. They didn't fail the Bechdel test.
They didn't attempt it. They didn't show up for the test.
They fucking put their pencils down.
Zero women in that movie whatsoever. Which again,
and why would there be?
It's a prison movie from fucking 90 years ago. Or whatever
yeah, if there was a woman in that movie, she would have just got punched, and that would have been the end of the scene. But what was I saying?
You said they were shitting on it for something else.
They were shitting on it for being saccharine and all these tropey things or whatever. And I'm sitting there listening to it going, hey, the reason that those are tropes is because of that movie. Like, that movie started the whole Morgan Freeman narrating everything. Like, that movie started, like, all these things you're complaining about, they do them in movies now because Frank Darabont fucking nailed it. Like, he absolutely crushed it. Like, it's, to me, there's obviously no such thing as a perfect movie, but like, that's as close to one as I could name.
Yeah.
And of course, Galaxy Quest.
Yes, love Galaxy Quest. You told me you had something you want to talk about. Maybe we should get off of movies and shit. Is your thing also about movies?
No, it's about poetry and crazy people.
Good, that's better.
So similar. Hey, let's take a break, and we will be right back with Poetry Lunatics. Guys, if you're like me, you know, you've tried to quit vaping and smoking, and you always end up going back, you need to try our latest sponsor, Fume, because your willpower isn't the problem, although I think mine is a little bit the problem. It's how you're trying to quit is. You know, you got the nicotine pouches, the patches, and the gum. They only address the nicotine while still keeping you fairly reliant on it. And cold turkey, dude, I mean, it's hard. I know that some of us think that we're tough men, but you know, we're not. At the end of the day, it forces you to focus on every single craving and rely on willpower alone. And like, look, man, we got so much other stuff going on. We need our willpower and our brain for other things. It's not just a nicotine problem. It's a habit problem. It's that hand-to-mouth motion, the inhale, the stress break, the thing you reach for automatically throughout the day. I like to think of it as like an adult pacifier, you know, and repeating that loop over and over, your brain learns to expect it. And that's why Fume works. Fume, third parties have surveyed and rated Fume twice as effective as other quit solutions on the market. It's a flavored air device made from real wood and metal. For the record, full transparency, I don't know where mine is right now because my son grabbed it out of my pocket and threw it somewhere. But it's really cool. It's got a good weight to it. Looks like a little baseball bat that you've whittled. It's neat. It's nice to fidget with. And I find that sometimes I just need something in my hand and something in my mouth. Pause. Don't say anything about that. Fume has no nicotine, no vapor. It's just air, but air that tastes good. It isn't designed to mimic vaping. It's designed to help you quit. Okay. And I'll be honest with you, while I still haven't completely quit nicotine, I am doing it less because I make the conscious decision just to reach for the Fume sometimes. It's also not electronic, so I ain't got to charge it or anything like that. And from August 15th until September 15th, so we're smack dab in the middle of it, you get 30% off the Good Habit Pack with everything you need to kick back into gear after summer and get your habits back on track. Plus, use our code POA at checkout to get a free Fume topper. More than 1 million people have already chosen Fume to quit differently. The only question is whether you're ready to take the first step. And remember, addiction is really good at saying later. Don't let it. Head to tryfume.com. That's TRYFUM.com to get 30% off the Good Habit Pack. Use the code POA at checkout to get your free Fume topper. Tryfume.com, promo code POA. Fume it.
All right, we're back. Poetry Lunatics. How deep of a well is this? I could see it being pretty deep because I know you're going into the past. Poetry, like the rappers of their day, right?
Yeah.
So they were all fucking wild and horny and stuff.
Yeah.
Stacking paper and fucking bitches, all these poets all the time.
Yeah.
I know my boy Lord Byron was.
He
had like a pet polar bear or some shit.
That's the first thing on
fucking running through hoes.
That's the first thing
Definitely
on
the young thug of his day.
Yeah,
George Gordon Lord Byron. He had a liger.
Yeah.
Dude, Lord Byron would hit for, if rappers don't know about Lord Byron, they should.
Right?
They should be rapping about that motherfucker. He fucking laid the framework anyway.
He really did. I remember seeing
Love
a
Lord
thing.
Byron.
was it also Young Thug that talked about having a bunch of Russian literature around him because that just seemed like it
I
hit?
think you're remembering a story that I told you repeatedly. I think. Please tell me that a real rapper did the same thing, because I would love to know that.
Tell me the story again.
The story, which I know I told on an early episode of this show, was I went to New Orleans for a bachelor party with a buddy for my buddy's bachelor party. Charles, you know Charles.
Yeah, I know.
And we were down there, and it's all these Salina boys, and we were walking down Bourbon Street, whatever. They got all those barkers out there for strip clubs.
Yeah.
Bar, hey, come in, they got special champagne or whatever. We get barked into one because we're marks. And this guy, this manager who's like a smooth talking New Orleans black dude, right? It's like showing us he takes us to the champagne room, right? He's trying to, because of course you pay for all this and bottle service and shit. It's a lot of money, and he's trying to sell us on this. We're on a bachelor party, and he don't know the trash he is dealing with.
Right.
Like, this was never going to happen,
right?
But we also don't even really understand. We just think like, oh, this guy's cool. He thinks we're cool. He's showing us his cool stuff. You know what I mean? We're just so stupid. But anyway. My buddy Porno was there, Porno too.
Real
he was kind of at the start of the procession. Me and him were the ones getting the brunt of the sales pitch from the guy. And he takes us in the champagne room, and he's going through all the features. He's like, you get a bottle of this, you get this, whatever. And he points around the walls, which are all lined with bookshelves and stuff. And he goes, and we got over 1,000 books, and they all in Russian, right? And Porno goes, what? Why are they all in Russian? And the dude looked so personally offended and responded as though it was the dumbest thing he'd ever been asked in his life. He goes, because that's just balling. And he shook his head and walked off. And he was like, these motherfuckers don't know what hits. Like, he just gave up on us right there. But yeah, I don't know. It's
okay. Well, you just reminded me of a story that I'm 100% I told.
I bet you told it the same episode.
I did. But, we have new listeners, so I'm going to tell it anyways because this is so great. And Burns has never heard it. So I was one of my best friends is a preacher.
I remember it.
It's so great.
It is funny. It's
one of my best friends is a preacher. So which I know sounds insane. But I would also like to point out the reason that he's one of my best friends is because he does this thing, Trae. I don't know if you know that you can do this, but he actually lives like Christ.
Right.
You know what I mean?
My brother-in-law's a preacher who is Christ-like.
Yeah.
Super weird.
Like, he's a really good, non-judgmental guy.
No, I know. Love it. I love those people. They're few and far between, but I do like them a lot.
And he's awesome. And one of the main things I talked to him about is how bad I feel for him because nobody believes he exists and all the rest of them give him a bad name. And you know what's crazy about him is he even takes that in stride.
That's what I was about to say. I was about to be again, my brother-in-law's one of those dudes too. And the thing about that is they're not concerned with that.
No, he doesn't even.
Because they're actually Christ-like.
Right. I go, does that
so he just lives his life and he treats his people the way he's supposed to and worries about his community and that type of thing. And he don't really, he ain't bothered by that you just described.
I'll tell him, I'll be like, does that not bother you? Does that not make you mad? And he'll just be like, everybody's different. Everybody's going through their own thing. And I can only control what I do. And I'm just like, God damn it. Where's your flaw? You don't have one. So anyways, he was telling me he was in, and he's a pastor and stuff, but he's around my age and he's hip. He knows, dude, he likes Tarantino movies and shit like that. He's a cool dude, and so he's hip. So they were in New Orleans and they're all walking around with all these preachers. They've met up with these old ones. And all of a sudden this guy, similar to, I'm assuming the gentleman that comes and starts proselytizing to them in his own way. And my buddy sort of realizes what's going on, but is just all right, let's see what happens. And he's like, I need you guys to come in to blah, 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 and yada, yada, yada. And one of the preachers who is the type that we know of, who is just very judgmental, blah, 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 blah. He gets up on his high horse and he's just like, sir, we are here as ministers of God. And we are not going to go. He's trying to get him to go into a strip club.
Yeah, right.
That's trying to get him to go into a strip club. And he's like, we're here ministers of God. We don't need to be around any of this type of filth. Mm-hmm. And the fucking black dude without missing a beat looks at him and goes, oh, all these bitches is Christian.
All
these bitches is Christian.
It's so funny, dude. Oh no, all these
bitches is Christian. It's so funny. But anyways, yeah.
See, we talk about it all the time. That guy's a perfect example of like, there's no comedian we know that's funnier than that dude who's a strip club barker on Bourbon Street in New Orleans or whatever. It's like
timing, amazing.
But anyway, poetry. Go back to it.
So this is brought to you by, shameless plug, CoreyWritesForYou.com. I've been doing a segment on CoreyWritesForYou.com, which is my Substack, called Throwback Thursday, named after Henry David Thoreau, where I read an old either poem or sonnet or like part of a short story, something from the public domain so I don't get in trouble. So, old stuff, right? And so I've been sort of just reading up a little bit more on poetry. And full disclosure, I got a lot of these from like BuzzFeed type lists or whatever. But, poets, like all artists, be lunatics. You've got Sylvia Plath deciding to off herself by putting her head in the oven, which frankly, I would not. Although, finding out later in life that it was like, it was the gas that killed her made so much more sense. I thought she just cooked
baked her head like a Christmas ham.
I thought she
but with the door
open.
It's going to take a while to get up to temp doing that, buddy. You fucking got to be committed to just roast your head like that.
Right. Like put a really high
No, it's the equivalent of
being in the car
of a dad in the 80s who's, just lost everything on Wall Street, fucking closing the garage door and putting a hose in the car.
And that is the way to do it.
Well, it's the same thing, I think.
Yeah, right. But dude, I didn't know. I literally thought she just made a Sylvia Plath souffle out of her head. Up until I was like 28, I thought that. So anyways, here's a couple of poetry lunatics. And if you would like to hear me read poetry, and I analyze them as well. This past week was The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost, and how it's sort of a misunderstood poem, but that's all at CoreyWritesForYou.com. So Lord Byron, like you alluded to, he brought a pet bear to Cambridge out of spite. Because Trinity College officials told him that dogs were strictly forbidden in the dorms. So Byron combed through the university statutes and found no mention of bears. Right. So he bought a tame bear from a traveling showman and walked it around campus on a chain.
Gangster.
Absolutely gangster.
Show me where in the rule book it says that a bear can't go to college.
And
sir.
That's a movie, by the way.
Don't say it nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah. That's an Air Bud for you, a bear. What in any of the Air Bud movies did any of the other teams wisen up and get their own dog?
I don't know, dude. I know that franchise. I think went to. You've seen the.
It's still coming out.
They got buddies now, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
It's like little talking puppies or something.
Yeah.
And don't they like go to space and shit?
Yeah, I believe so.
And they're like space buddies, and
there is precedent for sending dogs to space.
You're just thinking about like, dude, that'd be hilarious. You turn on Space Buddies for your 3-year-old and they all just die in the abyss because they don't know how to get the rockets back to the fucking Earth.
Of course.
It's just like a fucking a true to life hard science movie about the fucking beginning of the space program that's for some reason shoehorned into the Air Bud franchise. That would be hilarious. Do you ever do people like work on those, man? Like, and I'm not
knocking it.
I'm not knocking them at all. What I'm saying
tomorrow.
is like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, you think about like our struggles with getting a shot at making like anything.
I'd do it tomorrow.
It's like, dude, these people make whole careers, steady work on fucking Air Bud franchise movies and like sci-fi originals and Hallmark Christmas movies. And you know what I mean? Just all that stuff.
Me and Burns, you can chime in if I get this wrong. We were doing an episode of Hollywood Hellscapes the other day, and we were talking about the movie, I think it was Don't Worry, Darling, or whatever. The dudes who originally penned that script are Dick Van Dyke's, like, grandkids, and before that, they were just... all they did was straight to video bullshit, which me and him were talking about,
like asylum movies and stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like that to me. I was like, okay, nepotism is obviously they got their foot in the door because their papa was Dick Van Dyke, but it's not like they got a one-way ticket to Hitville. Like they were just doing absolute bullshit for years until Don't Worry Darling comes along. But again,
right. And all the bullshit went away forever.
Exactly.
As soon as they sold their script for Don't Worry Darling, there was no more bullshit in those guys' future for sure.
So the poet Dante Gabriel Rossetti dug up his dead wife for his notebook. After his wife Elizabeth Siddell died of a laudanum overdose, sweet man,
Classic.
that's the way to go. A grief-stricken Rossetti buried his only manuscript of unpublished poems in her hair inside the coffin. 7 years later, I guess he was like, shit, I need something to turn in, and I don't have anything. And so he regretted that he did that, got government.
I don't know why I put my book in that bitch's head.
Oh, God. I couldn't have made a copy.
Yeah, I was just trying to do some emo shit. I thought it would play. Nobody even cared. Now I got to dig this corpse up and find his own book. I ain't got shit else to do. Yeah.
So he got government permission to exhume her grave by firelight to retrieve the notebook, shook the worms out of the pages, and published it.
Lord God.
The title of this one is Percy Bysshe Shelley's Heart Refused to Burn. When Shelley, what?
It's just, that's so like that era
Poetic.
Of like gothic poet bullshit.
It's all such bullshit.
Because Percy said that's Mary Shelley's old man.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. You're thinking about this.
They was steeped in all that shit, I feel like. You know what I mean? Like the forerunners of, like I said, goth and emo and stuff. I don't even know where you're going with this, but it's like, of course his heart refused to burn.
Now that you mention that, it's wild because, like, it's like, I don't know, poets don't have it like that no more. You know what I mean?
I don't even,
like,
I mean, what are they?
Not that you can, but like, there was that certain mystique to poets back then.
Well, again, I feel like the equivalent now is rappers, and it's obviously pretty fucking different, but they definitely have a whole thing.
That's true.
A mystique of a sort, I would say.
Yeah, but it's not gothic and tragic. It's more like flexing. You know what I mean?
No, that is now like, I don't know, people that sell anime fan fiction art on Etsy or whatever, they hold down the goth stuff.
Right, or Jared Leto.
Yeah, right, right.
When Shelley drowned in Italy at age 29, his friends cremated his body on a beach in Viareggio. Do you know how to... Viareggio? Viareggio?
That sounds good to me.
Okay. His calcified heart did not burn during the pyre, so adventurer Edward Trelawney snatched it directly from the flames. Shelley's widow, Mary Shelley, who, as we know, is the author of Frankenstein and, I mean, the undisputed queen of sci-fi, I'd say. Her and I want to do an episode on her and Lucille Ball, who we owe all of sci-fi to, two women. Kept the dried heart wrapped in silk in her writing desk until her death.
See what I mean? Like, of course she did.
Of course she did.
That's that. No, it's like, well, also, you know, ever since Tim Burton fell off, like who's the, you know what I mean? Who's holding it down for those fucking sad art school queers? Neil Gaiman, he took a bad hit recently, which deservedly so. But I'm saying,
Aronofsky,
so like, he suffered a downfall. Aronofsky, I would argue, is different.
He is different, but like
he's definitely like artsy and shit, but not in a not in a black mascara way.
Right.
I don't think. You know,
I'm trying to think. You would think if you didn't know anything about Guillermo del Toro and you just knew his work,
his work is definitely like that.
Yeah, you would assume, but like he's actually a super down to earth, also, which is one of the reasons I'm such a huge fan of his, because like he proves that you can just keep it. You can just keep it all at work. Yeah,
right.
Like you ain't
got to keep hearts in your desk drawer or whatever.
And you don't have to
to come up with that creepy ass shit.
Right.
You know?
And you don't have to be fucking method and shit like that.
Yeah,
like you can just
another guy, again, I'm having trouble thinking of, I'm sure there are people that are into that type of thing who know the contemporary examples, but another dude I thought of, Rob Zombie.
Yeah, it's a good one.
He did that. He tried to like walk it out. He talked it. You know what I mean? Lived in a He lived in the House of 1,000 Corpses.
Billy Bob was like that for a while.
Yeah, him and Angelina with the blood and the vials and stuff. Are there any Zoomer fucking that? Like,
I don't know,
artsy
man.
goth fucking
You're
weirdos.
not allowed to be anymore because everybody, in order to be that, you have to have some things left to the imagination, and everything about our lives is recorded now. Remember Drew's really great bit about behind the music and how like that show doesn't really work now because we already know everything about all the artists because like they're being filmed 24 hours a day. I sort of think that we've lost the mystique, you know? But yeah, like that's why I saw this too the other day. Like, speaking of Guillermo del Toro being like, yeah, he makes fucked up crazy shit, but he's a normal kind of not. Paul Thomas Anderson, same way, by the way. Paul Thomas Anderson makes some of the most high art stuff you can make, but like, if you talk,
very unpretentious dude,
he would rather talk to you about the Dodgers game than you know, and I love that shit. Yep. I was watching. As you know, I am a huge Robert Pattinson fan and have been for a very long time. I was listening to him talk the other day about how stupid he thought method acting and stuff was. And he made such a great point about like somebody was mentioning to him like, oh yeah, so-and-so, you know, they wouldn't get out of character for the whole shoot. So they were a dickhead to everybody. And Pattinson made the point of, he goes, have you ever noticed that nobody ever goes method when they're playing a kind character? And they were like,
that's
what are you?
Funny because when did Kristen Stewart? It's funny that because Kristen Stewart had I believe deemed to be iconic quote on method shit relatively recently too. I didn't realize that Pattinson also had. She just pointed out it's like, yeah, you ever notice how it's only male actors who ever do that? She's like,
women would not be allowed.
She's kind of pointed out and it's like, oh wow, you're right. That I literally don't know any examples of a woman ever having even attempted that shit.
No, the only person they would ever let get away with it is Meryl Streep, but that is only because of who she is now. They wouldn't have let her get away with it at the beginning. Now that she's Meryl Streep, she can do whatever. But like Robert Pattinson's whole thing was like, I think these people are just assholes. And so they get to blame it on the method thing. But like no one has ever played like a really like Tom Hanks when he was Mr. Rogers. He was never he didn't just stay in Mr. Rogers' character the whole time. You know what I mean? Like it's only when it's like, I think,
Tom Hanks don't roll like that either way.
That's true. But I'm pretty sure they were talking about Jeremy Strong. I think like, I don't know if they said his name out loud, but that the subtext seemed like they were talking about like, it seems like Jeremy Strong just wants to be a dickhead, you know? Here's one on Edgar Allan Poe, which I did not know. Edgar Allan Poe was intentionally court-martialed out of West Point. Did you know that?
Yeah.
You did?
Yes, because of I don't remember if it's in the movie or if I found it out because of the movie. You ain't seen The Pale Blue Eye?
No, that's the Christian Bale, right?
And Dudley from Harry Potter, not Henry Melick.
I love that guy. He's made some great choices.
Wait, is it Henry Melick? Because Henry Selick is the whatever. Fucking it's a move. That dude plays fucking Edgar Allan Poe at West Point in that movie.
Okay.
And it's made by the guy that made
the
like
movie?
Crazy Heart and shit. Well, just like everything. Is it Scott Cooper's his name? I think.
Yeah.
Just like everything that dude makes. Like.
The Pale Blue Eyes.
It's like fucking bleak.
It's right, but is it good?
I watched it. It like hit for me. It's not like a favorite.
You wouldn't watch it again.
Probably not, just because of sort of how bleak it is.
Right. Well, it's
Harry Melick is the guy's name. Harry Melling. That's his name. Dude,
him and Daniel Radcliffe. I love that both of them were like, you know what? I never have to get a bag again in my life. I'm gonna do weird shit. I'm going to just do shit that super hits for me. Like, have you seen any of Daniel Radcliffe's like latest stuff? Like, he's just doing whatever, man.
Yeah, he's always kind of been like that since he stopped the Harry Potter thing. Like, listen to how rad this sounds, right? The Pale Blue Eye is a gothic mystery thriller set in 1830 at West Point, where Detective Augustus Landor, played by Christian Bale, teams up with a young Edgar Allan Poe, played by Harry Melling, to solve a grisly cadet murder that hints at occult rituals.
Yeah, I need Shane Black to direct that. Is
It
what I need.
sounds super, super awesome, and it's
Yeah.
like just okay.
It's just okay.
Well,
Well,
in my opinion,
I'll still check it out because I like all
but
those
it's just that
people.
dude Scott Cooper, man. It's like Out of the Furnace, Black Mass, Hostiles. Like I like all those movies,
Yeah.
but they're just like
they're
they just
they're
bleak.
just not
they're
not
downers.
rewatchable.
No, they're hard. They're like hard to watch.
I mean, that's how I feel about Dunkirk. You know, like like Dunkirk. I described. Somebody asked me like, "What?" I remember seeing it, and they were like, "What'd you think about it?" I said, "I think it was one of the most beautiful." Because I saw it in IMAX. It was like one of the most beautiful, moving movies I've ever seen in my life, and I will never watch it again as long as I live. It's not a and so a lot of people take that as like, then I shouldn't see it, and I'm like, no, you should see it. It's just not one that you're gonna. It's not like Tombstone that you're gonna throw on again.
Right.
But for those of you that don't know and didn't see that movie, Poe enlisted in the U.S. Army under a fake name, rose to sergeant major, and secured an appointment to the elite West Point Military Academy. Finding the rigid discipline unbearable, he deliberately skipped roll calls, classes, and church parades, allegedly once showing up for formation wearing only his boots, belt, and an ammo patch until he was successfully kicked out. Kind of bold. I feel like they could kill you for doing that shit back then.
Right. Or at least make you just not want to live anymore. You know
right.
What I mean?
Which he already very much didn't.
Well, you just get sent to like that fort in the movie Ravenous. You're I'm just doing nothing but. You ever see that movie? But did you ever see that movie?
No.
Love it.
Ravenous.
That's a good one. Yeah, it takes place at a fort in like the Rocky Mountains in like around this same time, 18, whatever.
Ravenous.
It's like wild and kind of its time, but it's a lot of fun in my opinion.
So I have this list of things to watch. I don't know if you can see here, but it's insanely long. And I would like to give you the distinction of I put things on here, but if you like, you're the one that told me about this, so I put an asterisk by it that says Trae told me, which means it jumps to the top of my list because I respect you.
Appreciate that.
Burns has a whole list under here of like Burns told me, so I'll definitely get to it. So yeah, he did that. Then here's one.
My man.
Okay. I will watch Ravenous tonight. After I finish, there was something else I need to finish, but I will talk about that later. William Blake, you familiar with William Blake?
I don't know the crazy anecdotes about William Blake.
He held nudist garden parties while role-playing Genesis. I guess Blake and his wife, Catherine, routinely read John Milton's Paradise Lost aloud while sitting entirely naked in their suburban London garden, and when a visitor would walk in on them, Blake reportedly called out, "Come in, it's only Adam and Eve." So they would play like they were in the Garden of Eden. That
is some supremely old-timely English, like fucking role play shit right there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like time. That's them getting freaky. Reading Paradise Lost in the garden with their genitals showing. You know what I mean? I know. What are you gonna do?
Arthur Rimbaud quit poetry entirely at age 20 to become a gun runner. He revolutionized French literature as a teenage prodigy and had a volatile love affair with poet Paul Verlaine, which ended when Verlaine shot him in the wrist. By the way, Lydia Lovelace has a song about this that you should check out. And then abruptly abandoned writing forever. He spent his late 20s and 30s traveling through East Africa and Yemen as a coffee merchant and arms trader. Imagine hitting so hard by 20 that you're just like, I'm going to do guns and coffee.
It's a good change.
A good change.
It's a good change.
I don't think I've heard of this person. Gerard de Nerval.
I never heard his name before. No.
Yeah, he walked a live lobster on a blue silk leash through Paris. And
now, how long the fuck did that take him? I feel like he drug a lobster through Paris. Come on, dog. You either drug it through Paris or it took you 7 hours to go 2 blocks in Paris. At which point, by the way, that lobster is walking you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Well, He did.
Did you say it was a blue lobster though?
No. It was a blue silk leash that he made.
Never mind. Because there are blue lobsters and they're like 1 in a billion. And I was like, if he had a blue
really
lobster,
rare.
I can understand wanting to show that off.
Yeah.
But I still think I'd just put it in a little like baby Bjorn or something, or just hold it. Check out this fucking blue lobster. Isn't that cool?
Well, also,
a regular ass red lobster. Fuck you doing?
I don't want to walk it because then it's like it's getting its muscles up and like it won't taste as good when I later edit. You know what I mean? I want to fatten it up. Mm-hmm. When asked why he took a crustacean on walks through through Paris Royal Gardens instead of a dog, the French romantic poet replied, "Because they are quiet, serious, do not bark, and they know the secrets of the sea." All right.
Okay. All right, dude. See, these motherfuckers, you talk about doing too much. Like people like fucking that being extra is anything new,
Yeah.
I remember when you talked about Emperor Nero or whatever.
Oh, God.
Like, dude, this motherfucker's so extra.
The most extra.
About everything. So it's just part of the human condition, I guess. But I don't know. That's a little try-hardy to me.
I did know this one, and it hits for me. And frankly, I kind of would like to do it, but procuring it, I think, would be difficult. As we all know, Lord Byron. What's the other famous thing about Lord Byron, Trae?
I know that he's come up a few times on here. His papa was in that famous mutiny I told you about for the wager and that shipwreck. He was like the paramour of some taken lady, and that was a big scandal. Remember, we called it was like most of them were gay. I talked about it on here where it's like they were allowed to have gay best friends, but then one of them was Lord Byron, and he was actually fucking her the whole time.
Yeah.
Because of course he was.
He was a gangster.
So have I landed on it yet?
He drank wine out of a human skull.
Right, see, there again. Did he use candle wax to plug up all the holes?
Well, let's
see. Or
it's
just the like, look at my head. You just take this part off, and then the cup right here.
Yeah, he might have put something in it. Let's see.
Even then, it's got to be pretty leaky, I would think. And also, how much wine can you fit in that? Your head. Somebody turn your head into a chalice.
Wait.
Drink all day.
Called a doctor.
Get blind drunk.
Yeah. But you'd have to hold the nose in the mouth.
But that's what I'm saying. The fucking. Yeah, I don't know.
It says here, while renovating his ancestral home, Newstead Abbey, Byron's gardener unearthed a large monk's skull. How they knew it was a monk's skull, I guess it still had the hair on the side of it. I don't fucking know. A large monk's skull. Byron had a silversmith polish it, mount it with silver rims, and turn it into a drinking chalice. So he had it customized.
Like
I would assume
turned into a
thing. Yeah, I assume plugged it.
I don't know. That kind of goes hard.
Dude, it goes real hard.
I was saying some of this stuff. I'm like, come on, bro.
It goes real hard.
Like, that's
awesome.
That is pretty rad.
Your name is Lord Byron. You better drink out
of
from
a skull chalice. It's pretty fucking sweet.
Yeah. Charles Baudelaire dyed his hair bright green just to shock people. The symbolist poet lived to provoke the bourgeois, which who among us doesn't? Beyond strolling the streets with hair dyed emerald green, he openly boasted about eating brain stew, kept a tarantula in a jar on his desk, and lived in apartments painted entirely in black and deep blood red.
Right. See, like Billy Joe Armstrong was like, this dude's spitting.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Fucking green hair, brain stew. I think he knew about this guy.
That's
but anyway,
funny. I didn't even think about that part.
That's what I'm saying. But that's one of those things that's like not everything holds up, because it's like at the time, how do you even make your hair green that long ago?
At that time ago,
but
I have
now
no idea.
It's, every other fucking edgy 13-year-old's got green hair. The bourgeois are not as off-put by it anymore.
Right.
But
still
back
don't hit
then,
for them.
they were just like, heavens.
Right.
Fucking catching the vapors and shit because...
Yeah. Dennis Rodman was sort of the apex of it. It's like, it was always kind of like, and then Dennis Rodman did it, and it didn't hit for anybody. But then after that, they were like, fine, whatever. That's how I feel about Rodman. You remember in NBA Jams when you could customize his hair?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't that hit so hard?
Loved it.
I don't know who this person is either. Algernon Charles Swinburne.
I'm sure he'd prefer the latter, I imagine.
I agree. He slid down banisters completely naked whilst screaming poetry.
No.
Sounds like Drew,
No.
to be honest with you.
Yeah.
That sounds very much.
Yeah, because it's like self-flagellate. You're going to get splinters in your tank, bro.
Right. Yeah,
No.
and that don't hit.
No, thank you.
Known for erratic outbursts, I'd say, fueled by brandy, the Victorian poet frequently stripped bare at parties, slid down stair rails, and screamed verses by Victor Hugo. Not even his own shit, by the way. He's not even reading his own shit. He's just reading stuff by Victor Hugo at Startled Guest. His close friend, who we mentioned earlier, Dante Gabriel Rossetti, had to hire a legal minder to keep him alive. I don't know if that means like being in a
conservatorship.
That's what I was
That's
thinking.
my assumptions. Old-timey equivalent of that. Yeah.
Old Alfred Lord Tennyson was so... I don't understand this sentence, but I'm going to read it anyways. Alfred Lord Tennyson was so blind that he mistook his food for wildlife and wrote in total blur. He suffered from extreme myopia. He notoriously ate dinner with his nose practically touching the plate and once loudly scolded a rotting leg of mutton, thinking it was an uninvited house guest, and refused glasses because he believed blurry vision made the world more poetic. He was getting it started.
Yeah, he does sound like... I mean, he had some bangers, I think, but...
He did.
Are you saying, like, early in life is when he had his bangers, and then later he turned into this, like, crazy old papaw yelling at meat and stuff?
I'm just reading from this listicle. It doesn't have any more
Well, according
context.
to this... Oh, wait, no, that's only when he was in office. Never mind, my bad. In office as poet laureate. I didn't really realize that was in office. So, he lived to be 83. So, that's what I'm saying. I'm wondering if he, like,
worked his way up to this.
To that, yeah, because dude, I was thinking about this yesterday. Like, it's wild to think about how, because we've met like Mel Brooks and I met Norman Lear and stuff, and they're like sharp as a tack still at nearly 100.
Unreal.
But so many super old people, it's like you just go insane.
Yeah, of course, and
you know what I mean.
You
and
revert
it's like,
back to childhood,
and it's wild to think about that. Right. About like that happening to you. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
Like, again, maybe Alfred Lord Tennyson was always like that. Always. Screaming at stuff that he thought was possums or whatever.
It's frightening. It's frightening.
But maybe not. Maybe when he was younger, he just hit like anybody. Then he got older and was just wild as hell with it.
Yeah, I won't go into too much detail, but last week I had a issue with some new medication that made me kind of just lose control of myself and my faculties. No. I remember, like, whilst it was happening, I thought, like, A, what if this is forever? And B, like, this just happens to people. And then you get those moments of lucidity where you're like, but then you go back into it, and I'm like, dude, whatever I got to write up, kill me, dog. All right. Friedrich Schiller could only write if there were rotten apples in his desk. When poet Johann Wolfgang von Goethe visited Schiller's study and felt overwhelmed by a sickening stench, Schiller's wife explained that Friedrich kept decaying apples stuffed inside his desk drawers because the smell of rotting fruit stimulated his creative inspiration.
Well, why? Whatever melts your butter, I
mean,
guess.
Yeah, some people's muse is dumb.
Just like, have you tried doing it without the stank fruit around everywhere?
Right.
Mate, you know what I mean? Where it's like that sort of like athletic superstition thing where it's like he thinks he's hitting because of the rotten apples.
Right.
Where it's like, well, if you just cleaned up the rotten apples before you hit the first time, you wouldn't even associate those
I
two
would hate
things,
to believe that about myself, that it wasn't in me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's, but also like maybe try a candle.
Right.
Like if stank make it hit, don't you think smell good might make it hit even more? Because I understand that, like when
imagine how hard you'd hit without all the stank.
Without all the stank.
You hit this hard surrounded by stank.
Yeah.
You don't even know. You know?
I don't have any specific routine that I have to follow every time, but there are certain things that I tend to end up doing. Like, if I know I'm about to sit down and write, I often will fresh balsam is my favorite candle because it smells like Christmas. And I don't care what time of year it is. I like Christmas smells. So like sometimes when I'm riding, I will light a fresh balsam candle. Now, I don't think that magically makes words pour out of me. I think it just puts me in a good mood, and it's easier to ride if you're in a good mood. So to me, the stank would put me in a bad mood. Now, maybe he was writing about despair.
Bad mood shit, right?
Right, exactly.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Everything he's writing is about death and stuff. Knowing these motherfuckers, you know, I could see that.
Here's a real dumb one. Thomas, as if any of these have been smart, Thomas Lovell Beddoes tried to commit suicide by dissecting his own leg. This was a romantic poet and an anatomist. Does that mean somebody obsessed with anatomy? Anatomist?
Yeah. Probably like close, adjacent to a doctor during that time, I would think.
He was also obsessed with death. He severed an artery in his thigh during a medical experiment on himself, and when doctors managed to save his life by amputating the leg, he later bought poison, slipped it into his drinks at the hospital, and left a suicide note that read, "I am food for what I am good for, worms."
Yeah, well, you know, who among us? I get feeling like that.
Lord Byron's back. Lord Byron kept a scrapbook filled with thousands of pubic hair locks. What do you think about that?
From bitches? Sorry.
No, I mean, it's a good question.
Because, I mean, it changes things a lot.
It is that.
Like if you're...
It is that.
Yeah.
Kept in envelopes marked with the names of his aristocratic lovers. Byron's accumulated one of the strangest romantic archives in history. The collection was preserved by his publisher, John Murray, that sick fuck, and remained intact in archives well into the 20th century. Let me ask you this. Is he getting these pubic hairs
Gaze upon my master's pussy catalog.
Hey,
and despair.
If you guys are bored, I got a bunch of envelopes with pussy hairs in them upstairs. If that floats your boat? Got pussy hair envelopes.
Oh my God!
Don't lick them. Do you think Byron was getting these pubic hairs on the sly, or do you think he was like, "Madame, appreciate everything we've done. I'm gonna need some of that pussy hair"?
I hope it's the latter, and based off everything I've ever heard about him, I bet he could just you know, his wish was their command. I bet, you know what I mean? Like, it seems like that. I bet he wasn't too hard for him to come by, is all I'm saying.
Sure,
he was just like, you know, hey, hook me up with some of that
pussy hair.
Yeah, they'd be like, tee-hee, okay.
Yeah, I want a Jurassic Park type movie where we clone all the women that Lord Byron fucked from their pussy hair envelopes. Jack Kerouac, now we're getting a little bit more recent. He taped tracing paper into a 120-foot scroll so he never had to pause typing. So he just fucking... like he didn't have to switch the sheets out.
Oh, okay. I got you. I wasn't following that one for a minute. Well, I mean, shit. I mean, hell, that's just practical.
It is practical. Like. He wrote the entire first draft of On the Road in a continuous 3-week frenzy, like barely slept. And to prevent the interruption of reloading single sheets into his typewriter, he just taped long strips of architectural paper together so the machine would just feed continuously. I mean, hey, results. You know, it's one of the greatest books of all time. William S. Burroughs accidentally killed his wife while playing William Tell. Do you know what William Tell is?
Man, I've definitely
I know what that is.
Before.
Burns, look up William Tell.
Also, there you go.
Okay. Okay. He shot an arrow off his head. I didn't know they couldn't hear you, Burns. In 1951, during a drunken party in Mexico City, Burroughs announced it was time to show off his marksmanship. His wife, Joan Vollmer, balanced a gin glass on top of her head. Burroughs drew a Star 380 handgun, misaimed, and shot her in the forehead, killing her instantly.
I mean, that's just murder. Did he go to prison for that?
He had to have. Like this
Yeah,
is
about to say
not
that fucking...
this is not what Alec Baldwin did.
No.
You know, Burroughs later
or fucking Mox and Varsity Blues. You know what I mean? Like it's a little more high stakes than that.
Okay, well, you just asked if he went to prison. This is interesting. Burroughs later credited the tragedy as the dark catalyst that forced him to become a full-time writer.
The things that men who had
I know.
been able to get away with, and imagine saying that publicly. Because in a way, it's like, man, it's like really, it's one of the best things that's ever happened because it turned me into the person that you all are blessed to have.
Think about it. You would have never remembered her.
You would have never, and without her sacrificing in that way, you would have never, been blessed with all of my hits the way that you so mercifully have.
Unbelievable,
dude. It's crazy. Dude.
Absolutely unbelievable. So Allen Ginsberg, we all know that feller. He read Howl to a room of poets who cheered by drinking a jug of wine per stanza at the historic October 1955 Six Gallery reading in San Francisco. Ginsberg debuted Howl in a frantic, drunken atmosphere where Jack Kerouac passed around gallon jugs of red wine and collected coins from the crowd to buy more alcohol, shouting, "Go, go," as the reading ignited the beat generation. That one's not that bad. They just got real drunk.
Yeah. And I bet if you could take me back in time and put me in there in the back of that room, me and you both, I think we'd be like, this ain't that great.
Yeah. Thank God there's wine, honestly.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, a live reading of a poem and they're all fucking just getting hype as fuck.
Anybody got a John Ford film?
Like Creed is about to start One Last Breath, Yeah.
I like poetry. I really do.
But not like that. Not like fucking,
Dude, as I read
slamming the table.
I read poetry. I read poetry every day of my life. And you also know, like, I overshare with you. Anytime anything hits for me, I usually send it to you in a text. Like, I'm sure you wake up to at least 20 text messages from me of me sporadic. Have I ever sent you a poem and went, dude, this is a banger?
No.
Because they don't, that doesn't really exist to me. Like, I can recognize this is a good poem, but it's like being drunk between stanzas, just being like, oh my God, like that's fucking crazy to me. And again, I appreciate poetry or I wouldn't be doing this. Ezra Pound of Old Cake Money, I assume, created a secret fascist radio campaign while in Italy. Obsessed with Mussolini's economic theories, the modernist giant broadcast hundreds of anti-Semitic and anti-American radio rants for the Italian government during World War II. When captured by U.S. forces in 1945, he was held in an open-air steel cage in Pisa or Pisa?
Like where the Leaning Tower is?
Oh, yeah. It's Pisa. Yeah. I forgot about that. I've never seen the word without leaning tower before. I swear to God.
I haven't either.
I haven't.
I didn't know they ever did anything there other than just look at a tower that leans.
I didn't either. Yeah. Before being declared mentally unfit for trial and committed to St. Elizabeth Psychiatric Hospital for 12 years. That really hits, and that's similar to sort of what Mel Brooks did during World War II when he used to... What?
What?
You don't remember that?
Keep all it. All right. Go ahead.
Mel Brooks, during World War II, he used to get, like, they would be on the front lines or whatever, and they knew that the Germans were on the other side trying to sleep, and he would broadcast, like, super Jewish stuff for them to hear and piss them off.
Right. And that hits for you.
It does hit for me.
In the way that Ezra Pound hits for you?
Well, no, but I'm just... No,
you said that hits because it's like what Mel Brooks did.
Which is similar. It's a similar thing.
It is in that it's exactly the opposite thing because Ezra Pound did that for the Axis.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm just saying.
What do you mean? It was like it was Nazi shit that he would do. The
thing I don't like what he did. I like the application. You know what I mean? I like the application.
Okay, it's still just deserves a little bit of qualifying.
I agree. I agree. Like, but look, hey, we all believe what we believe in. You know what I mean? I think Brooks was obviously
now more than ever. That is true.
Brooks was obviously more righteous, but this is the same thing. You know, it's a hit and prank is all I'm saying. Dylan Thomas drank himself to death while bragging about a whiskey record. While on a chaotic reading tour in New York City in 1953, the Welsh poet stumbled into the White Horse Tavern and later returned to his room at the Chelsea Hotel claiming, "I've had 18 straight whiskeys. I think that's the record." He then immediately collapsed into a coma shortly after and died at age 39.
Well, show me the lie. You know what I mean? It's probably been broken now. But it's funny because I've heard that before about a non-famous person that someone tried to set like a world record for drinking, but then died right after.
I don't think it counts.
I mean, it feels like it shouldn't. It's like like an eating challenge where you can't throw up.
You can't throw up. Right.
A drinking challenge where you can't die.
Right.
Because I'm just saying, I feel like I've heard that before, but it wasn't with a famous person, I didn't think.
Right. Because if you die, then you drank too much. You clearly couldn't handle it. Anybody can drink themselves to death. You know what I mean?
Right. Yes, but some people drink themselves to death at a lower threshold.
That's very true.
You know what I'm saying?
That's very true. Got a couple more. F.T. Marinetti launched Italian futurism by crashing his car into a ditch in 1908. Man, he must have hit to have a car in 1908. Marinetti swerved his speedster into a muddy ditch outside Milan to avoid two cyclists. Crawling out from under the car covered in sludge, he had an epiphany that modern machine violence was superior to traditional art, immediately penning the Futurist Manifesto, which declared that a roaring motor car is more beautiful than the winged victory of Samothrace. I don't know what that means.
I don't either, but good on him for avoiding cyclists that long ago. I thought back then they just plowed right through people.
Yeah, you would think.
And got away with it.
That's funny, too, that, like, this was at a time when cyclist was the norm. Like, there was more cyclists than there were cars. But immediately when we got cars, we looked at cyclists and we're just like, ugh, get the fuck off the road, asshole.
Right.
Living in the park, I've got to really, like, look, man, I love bicycles. It's a good form of exercise, but hey, guys, did you know that they have a lane for you? There's a bicycle lane for you. Stay the fuck in it, okay? If you're listening, stay the fuck in the lane. And if you're 4 or 5 cyclists, I know that it would hit for you to like ride side by side so you can chat, but don't do that. Don't fucking do that. It's annoying, and I hate you, and I've almost died. E.E. Cummings.
Yeah. I'm totally with you, except that it's just I apply that to anyone who doesn't stay in. There's a bike path and a walking path right near where we live.
Yeah. Oh, walkers do it too.
That's what I was about to say. I've been on a bike with my kids and stuff in a line, not beside each other, and walkers just be all up in the bike lane and shit all the time. And so anyone who's like oblivious like that and is just not in the right place, you don't hit, and just be in the right place. It's not that fucking hard.
I'll go you a step further. And I am a pedestrian a lot of times because I walk a shit ton. I walk a ton. I actually don't think that pedestrians should have the right of way in any situation, because if you're walking, you're not in a hurry. You know what I mean? You're not in a hurry. Let the car go and you wait till the cars are gone and then you go, because you're walking. You're not in a hurry. Just fucking stop it. Now, in New York, it's different because you have to. I get all that, but I'm saying where I live. Like,
yes,
I'm sorry.
And you live out in rural America. But I was just going to say, from like a philosophical perspective, I have to disagree with that, because we need to incentivize more people to be able to walk and get around and stuff.
That's
so there
true.
Should be advantages to using other means of transport besides cars.
I take back what I said. You're right. This is based on one person that pissed me off. As so much of my beliefs are rooted in one person that pissed me off. E. Cummings was thrown into a French concentration camp for treasonous letters. While volunteering as an ambulance driver during World War I, Cummings' close friend wrote letters home mocking French military incompetence. French censors suspected both men of espionage, arresting Cummings and locking him in a windowless detention camp in Normandy for 3 months, an experience he turned into his novel, The Enormous Room. I love that, where they're like, they're making fun of us. They must be spies. It can't be that we just don't hit.
Yeah. Well, again, that's an attitude you see, replicated all over the place, I feel like.
And I've got more, but it feels like a good time for us to stop. We'll go with this one. Alexander Pushkin fought roughly 29 duels before one finally killed him. Russia's national poet was notoriously thin-skinned, initiating pistol duels over trivial jokes and theater seating. So, like, if he didn't get the seat he wanted in a theater, he'd get his white glove off and go.
I think I'd just let him have the seat, bro.
I would,
especially
too.
If he's 26-1 duels into a streak,
Right.
I'd be like, no, please go right ahead.
In 1837, infuriated by an anonymous letters alleging his wife was having an affair with French officer Georges d'Anthis, Pushkin challenged him to a duel in the snow. Pushkin was shot in the abdomen, managed to prop himself up on one elbow to return fire and wing d'Anthis in the arm, and died 2 agonizing days later at age 37. I'm unaware of whether in those 2 days he wrote a magnificent book, but there you go.
All right.
Crazy Poets.
That was a lot of fun. Crazy Poets with Professor Cho. I liked it. You think people would be horrifically upset with us if we don't do airmail or do a brief one this week?
We can do a brief one.
Because we are like 2 hours.
Yeah, that's okay. How about this? I'll just do one. Subject line: elephant snuff films, small circuses, and Field Marshal Zhukov. My father told me that in the 1920s, there were a lot of small circuses that would visit tiny crossroad towns like St. Inigos, Maryland. St. Inigos, Maryland, nicknamed for Ignatius. Thank you for using words that my dumb ass can't say. He remembered how the elephant would be brought in on a flatbed truck. Later, the elephant had to help push the truck to start the engine. As soon as the engine caught, the elephant would promptly leap onto the flatbed. I had no idea how nimble an elephant could be, he said. Then the engine would conk out. It always took several tries to get the truck going, and each time the entire staff of the circus would have to coax the elephant back down to ground level. The elephant never wanted to get off the truck, so this always took a while. To persuade something that big and irritable to do anything would take a good deal of diplomacy, I suspect. I do enjoy the mental image of the clowns, the ringleader, and the acrobats all pleading, "Come on, Balula, just one more try." The other circus story he told me was about the time that the circus gave him and his sisters a free pony. The kids thought Christmas had arrived early. The circus left that night, and the next day, the pony died.
Yeah, I knew something was coming, bro. I was like, it ain't no way. You know how much a fucking pony was worth back then? These fucking carnies just giving some to kids out of the fucking...
Just had gangrene.
It's like, no, dude, there's little dwarfs inside of there, Trojan horse style, or something's going to rob them all blind later, or fucking that pony's going to explode, and something's going to happen. I knew it. Never mind. Go ahead.
They continue. Thanks for mentioning Jason Isaacs, who precisely portrays such elegant villainy, but who is a charming, self-deprecating motor mouth in interviews. He is, by the way. Have you ever seen him in interviews?
I don't think I have, and I love him.
He's a delight. He's nothing like what you would think. Like he is very charming. He's not pretentious. Like all he talks about is pranks that he pulls. Like he just seems like one of the dudes. On YouTube. He is also a perfect example of the kind of thing that Trae brought up in Trash Daddy, which is Trae's special you can see on YouTube. The hateful practice of hiring British actors to play Southern characters, as in White Lotus, where Isaacs plays a Southern millionaire who's having a nervous breakdown. He hit for me in that role, for the record.
Yeah, me too.
Isaacs even mentioned that there were 2 British vowel sounds that were exactly the same as in the Durham, North Carolina accent. Goddamn foreigners taking our jobs. I hope you've seen The Death of Stalin. I have. That movie is awesome.
And he's awesome.
He's so great. Isaac played Field Marshal Zhukov, probably the only person who was not scared shitless of Stalin. His performance is priceless, and it is obvious he's having a wonderful time. He was an unbearably sexy Hook in Peter Pan. If it had been me, I would have sent Peter Pan back to the island. Then I would have said to Hook, listen, sugar, just shoot the damn crocodile, pay off your crew, and come with me to Paris where I will buy you the bionic hand of your dreams. Try it for a week, and if you can't stand it, then go back and be a pirate again. No regrets for either one of us. Oh, well, an old hag can dream. They can't tax dreams yet. That's our friend Marjorie.
Love it. Lovely Marjorie. Yeah, Field Marshal Zhukov that he played in that movie, apparently they had to tone down the number of medals that he had on his
I love shit like that
in real life. Yeah.
Like that in Rogue Heroes where they're like, by the way, I know this stuff sounds crazy, but the real story is more insane. We couldn't put it in here because we didn't think you'd believe us.
Yeah.
Where are you going to be,
buddy?
Right,
well, I'm in Omaha, Des Moines, Kansas City soon, then upstate New York, and Hartford, Connecticut, Eugene, Oregon, Austin, Texas, and a bunch of others coming up in the near future, all at TraeCrowder.com.
Hey, everybody. This weekend, I'm going to be at Emerald City Comedy Club in Seattle, Washington, August 22nd. There are 2 shows. I haven't had time to put it up on my website yet, but I will link the website in the description of this podcast, or you can just Google Emerald City Comedy Club. Trae, you've been there. You said it's a cool spot.
Yeah, very cool room, cool area. I like it. Shout out Dane, the owner.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to doing that, running my new hour that I will then hopefully have perfected by the time we get to Nashville. So you can come see us at Zany's in December 10th through the 12th, the 11th being my birthday, if you need even more of an incentive to come see us. Other than that, go to CoreyWritesForYou.com. I just finished Act 1 of Here We Rest, my Southern crime horror. That is 4 chapters that comprise Act 1. It is all available for you in written form. I just recorded it vocally. As you can tell, my voice is kind of going away. I just have to edit it, and I will throw that up there at CoreyWritesForYou.com. Everything is free, or you can give me $5 a month. Also, check out me and producer Burns' new show, the Dollop Hollywood Hellscapes, as well as Weekly Skews, Gravy Baby, and Well-Read Everything in the Skew-niverse, and Stay Fancy Motherfuckers.
Skew.
Here's Lydia Lovelace.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Royalty and rednecks are alike. They both like cutting and picking fights. Biscuits and baked beans where they don't belong. Sit on down with Corey and Trae and learn some fancy shit today. We'll laugh a little even when they're wrong. They'll take you to a magical place where if you call someone a cunt, nobody cares. They keep it debonair at putting on airs, putting on airs, putting on airs.